Welcome to Tent Talk, the podcast with Nancy McCready, where we talk about life under the big tent of God's presence and the provoking process of discipleship. Here we go.
Hey everybody, welcome to Tent Talk. This is Nancy McCready. Check out today's episode. It is important how you're relating to authority, but it's also important for you to become more discerning in how authority is relating to you. Take a listen. I'm pretty sure this will be an eye-opening episode. Love you all. In our last episode together, we looked at ways that we might be inappropriately, improperly relating to authority. And I do hope that it is causing you to look at things and to look at them with Holy Spirit. If we do not allow Him to be the one who is leading this investigation, if you will, then we could still come up with assessments that are lacking in the sharpness that we need right now. So I do pray that our last episode is still provoking you and that Holy Spirit is the one leading you. So what I want to talk with you about on this episode is, are you beginning to recognize as you awaken to your own issues of authority that you also begin to see how is authority trying to function with you? How is authority maybe relating to you? You probably have some authorities in your life who are strong, clean, stout, appropriate boundaries, and all is working well. You might find, though, with the most significant people in your life, that it's still a twisted mess, and that you're beginning to feel uncomfortable as you become more aware of what's been operating in you. Then you're going to begin to see clearer what may have been trying to operate on you, meaning how certain authorities in your life are being improper towards you. Now, it's all the rage these days, to be aware of gaslighting and narcissism, and I assure you, I definitely, get all of that. I tend to just put it all, though, in the category that it's on the very, high levels of the spectrum of self. And so I see it all in the same category. But it definitely can go to the extremes. And you may find that authority is trying to control you. There are words like trauma bonding, and this has again become much more prominent to be in conversations, and you can do all kinds of online researching. And this is where those who are abusive in your life, they may be abusing their authority, meaning they're using it to control you. They're using you just to get you to do the tasks that they want you to do to make them richer, to bring them more status, more awards, whatever the case may be. There's all kinds of manipulations and motivations that go along with all of that. But when you look at some of the ways that authority may be improperly relating to you, right? Because it's a reciprocal relational aspect, the dynamics of authority, those in authority, those under authority, all of that. So you've probably heard of such words like, love bombing, which means that when they want to wow you, sweep you off your feet, when you first come into the company, when you first start dating, oftentimes this happens in the beginning, and they are highly motivated, and you're seeking, new relationships, new job, new company. You're just looking for the new. And so what a combination, what a partnership. I want to be wanted and they want to make me feel wanted so that I will choose them back. And so love bombing is when there's so much attention poured out on you meaningful attention, gifts, love languages, lots of, affirmations, lots of encouragement, lots of seeking you out. And maybe this is what you've been so hungry for, and so it just fits like a hand in glove. And so this also then gives them access to gain your trust. And once they've gained your trust and you think they're really for me, then this is when they can slide in criticism. Now, it may not happen in the first day or two, but the criticism, harsh language can happen, attacks, accusation, or the criticisms may begin ever so slightly. Like, did you have to do it that way? Or why did you say that? And you're like, whoa, wait just a minute. I thought we were, working together on this. Maybe it's a team leader. And you realize, wow. But then it causes you to question yourself because the manipulation is increasing. And now you're going, back and forth between, punishment and feeling hurt. And then they soothe you and tell you, oh, no, I'm for you. I just want to better you. There could be all kinds of things. And remember, these are counterfeits of things that are really necessary. Real authority does have to bring instruction and correction, but it is truly for your best, not just to control you and to get you to do your best for the authority necessarily. So this is where we have to, understand the nuance, and maturity is required to understand the nuance of what is going on. So when we go from the love bombing, they've gained our trust, then they begin to criticize and manipulate, we then can oftentimes begin to go into the fawning that we talked about previously, where we are simply resigned to this is the way it is, and I don't feel that I can get out. Maybe I made a lot of, declarations and promises and entered into lots of agreements during the love bombing phase of this new relationship or new employment. And I feel now obligated and I'm committed. And so I feel there's just a sense of powerlessness. I'm resigned to this, so I've just got to make the best of it, which of course then increases our distress, our anxieties, and then it just repeats and repeats and repeats in our lives. So I want you to recognize not only how you might be relating to authority, but how is authority relating to you? And those who may be growing themselves as authorities may respond very well to your honest communications. That when you may say, I'm going to have to say no to this opportunity for overtime because I need to be with my family, or I've not had a holiday in 3 weeks and or a day off. I forfeited those to complete other projects, and so I'm going to need to take this weekend off. But I look forward to us continuing to work together. They may be able to receive that very well. They may really respect that. They may not. And they may say, I thought you were a team member, and boom, here comes the criticism, here comes the flip. But you won't know, my friends, until you simply communicate honestly, where you just, follow what the Lord is leading you, and to know within yourself it is not unreasonable if you aren't supposed to work on Saturdays and Sundays, and the only time that you do is when there's an agreed upon extra hours to meet a deadline that kind of thing. It's not an every weekend thing. It's an occasionally when needed. That's reasonable. That can be appropriate depending upon the arrangements that you made when you came into that employment, that agreement, into that team, whatever the context may be. So I wanted in this episode today, as we look at our authority quotient, that we recognize it's not only how we relate to authority, but how does authority relate to us? Is it attack? Is it manipulation? Is it honest communication? Is it mutual respect? Is it give and take? Is there a sense of cleanness in it? And so if we allow the Father to mature us, we begin to discern more appropriately. Not just have our radars out so that we're trying to survive the next hit that comes across the room, but to say, wait just a minute. Hold on. I'm going to discern what is happening here. It doesn't matter if I'm right or wrong. Being treated in a particular way is never okay. It's not God's will that I be mistreated, right? So I don't have to live with a bitterness to think, I guess this is fine with God. I guess I'm just supposed to lay down and be a doormat. Listen to me carefully, my friends. If God has you in it, right, or you have gotten yourself in it, whatever the case may be, God's going to show you how to walk through it and maybe out of it, because there is a way in the kingdom to deal with things. When we do not deal with it appropriately, which doesn't mean that just because you deal with it appropriately, everybody else is going to respond appropriately. But if you're dealing with it appropriately, remember Romans 6, we behave in newness of life. How we handle our business and walk and behave is in newness of life. Then we can walk free knowing that we've followed His lead, His promptings from within, out of our oneness with Him. There will not be bitterness and the residue of unfulfilled expectations that turns into anger that poisons you. This is going to be very important. But if I'm still trying to appease everyone, or if I think it's God's will that others be able to mistreat me, I assure you there is going to be the stirrings of bitter juices within us. And my friends, if we live in newness of life, I don't go around as anyone's victim, not a victim of myself, of others. I'm living my life of freedom. My authority quotient is rising, my bitterness quotient is decreasing, and my maturity quotient is definitely going to be flourishing. So think on these things today as we continue to walk through this series of conversations. Because, my friends, we must live in private as who we really are, so that we can walk as the authority that we're meant to. That His way of life could spread to as many other people as are willing, to whosoever will. I can't control what everybody decides. I don't know how they will choose to live. I don't know how they'll conduct their business, but how I conduct mine is very important. My personal, private obedience and responsiveness to the Father, that determines how I will live. All right. And the same is for you. Be encouraged today. I'm stepping in here at the end of these episodes to encourage you to watch our social media for your invitation to the private online event with me, The Vault. It will be Friday, August 23rd, 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. Central Standard Time. This will prove to be a stepping stone time where you can take your next steps to development, to preparation, to awareness, to discernment. And I look forward to our time together on The Vault, a private online event with Nancy McCready. August 23rd, 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. Central Standard Time. Watch our social media, watch our email subscriptions, and you will receive information. Get your tickets and be there with me. Thanks so much.